Well, hey team, Tommy G, middle-aged millennial. Should I even say where I'm coming from? I've probably said it enough times, right? In fact, it's too bad I can't get audio from everybody else and see if everybody knows the answer. But yes, I am coming from the Gold Coast. Damn, another shabby day right here, as you can see behind me. And we have Foodie Day today, and it's going to be a biggie because we not only have the wonderful Anne Wenstrom Murphy, who's about to join, but we also have a bonus edition Foodie explosion of videos today, and we're going to bring Anne on right now with a follow-up after Anne's session as well. A special guest that's going to be joining us. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was trying to find a place to do this because
To do
remember,
this? Right.
yeah, remember when my house
Oh, you're,
flooded? It's
yeah, like,
I
still?
they're still making repairs, so my living room is
Oh
still
my
full of
God.
like I literally there's a pathway to the couch in my desk, and I'm like,
So
I was
the
like,
water line,
where am I going to
the water line.
sit?
Right, so your feet are in water right now. Is that what you're saying? While you're
No,
sitting
but just
down?
all the
No.
stuff from all the yeah, everything's moved out of rooms from the floods, so.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I was like,
Damn.
where the hell am I going to sit for
Sit.
this?
Oh my God.
I'm in this little space like this. Like,
Oh my God. Oh, jeez.
but the repair work's getting done, so it's all good.
Okay. All right. Does insurance cover it or what? Or
Yes.
you got to like,
Yes. I have a brand new
hallelujah.
bathroom now, and they just
Woo!
replaced all the duct work in the heater. Um, Now they got to fix all that. There's other stuff that needs to be fixed, and then I get new carpeting. And then
Well,
everything,
there's a
all the
good
shit
side.
can get put away. So
All right. Well, there's a good
yeah,
side to this, right?
yeah,
Every
yeah,
cloud has a silver lining. Brand new
exactly.
stuff. Thanks to socializing the problem through insurance.
Yep, right.
So,
So
yeah. Okay. Very cool. So, what are we going to talk about today, Anne?
I don't know. What are we going to talk
I don't
about
know.
today?
Yeah. Well, it's been a week. Well, not a week. In fact, we had Anne Shivers on yesterday,
Yes.
and we were talking about communication.
Mm.
And that's kind of the theme we're playing with this week as the common thread,
Okay.
and how communication and nutrition
Mm.
are connected. Right?
Yeah.
And we can stretch the definition of communication. So it was communication and pain yesterday. Now it's communication and pangs, I guess, as in
Yeah.
hunger pains.
in hunger
Yeah,
pains or
that's it.
or
Yeah, hunger
pains
pains.
from not eating foods that serve
Well,
your body.
right. But the communication of anything to do with nutrition. I mean, it could be the
Mm-hmm.
communication also that we tend to get really fucking confused about
Well,
with
yeah,
bullshit
that's
advertising.
yeah. I was just thinking about that. I mean, there's
Right.
the miscommunication of what to do, what
Yeah.
not to do. The
Yeah. Organic
the
versus
misinformation on food. Yeah,
right. The misinformation on food, the
yeah.
misleading
Mhm.
on food,
Mhm.
the interpretation of what does organic really mean versus,
Mhm.
let's say, biodynamic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is
There's a lot of
my
angles.
doctor, my nutritionist actually telling me? What are they communicating to me? So
Mhm.
there's a couple that we can probe in right
Yeah.
there, I think.
Yeah.
Where do you
Yeah.
want to go first?
Um. What about some of the miscommunication, misinformation on, well, you should be eating this and you should, the blanket statement of you
Cool.
should be.
I was hoping you'd go there. Good.
So, one of my mentors years ago, she had this saying that I say to clients all the time, stop shooting all over yourself. Don't
Right.
should all over yourself, because there is no should, you know?
Right.
Like, even I had a conversation today. Um, a, a doctor, I'm trying to think, I think it was a naturopath or something, of somebody who, told her what she should be eating. And this was a
Uh,
couple years ago. And I was like, okay, so first of all, we're always in
uh-huh.
flux. Things always change.
Yeah, it's
Second
dynamic.
of all, okay, so this doctor can have a basic idea from some of the tests that were run and everything, but that doesn't mean that that list of foods is going to serve you and that is what you should be eating.
Right.
Because there could be some that you have a sensitivity to or an allergy to that did not show up in that screening that they did. So because this person said, well, I eat healthy, and I'm like, yeah, but what does that really mean?
Right.
That doesn't, unless you learn the communication that your body gives you, it may not be healthy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Carrie and myself, spinach, it's not a thing, like, and it's, I for years thought, oh, well, eat your spinach because it's so good for you, eat your spinach. And it's
Right.
only in the past like 6 months I realized, what, spinach doesn't really make me feel good. Like, maybe that's why, like, I've had this aversion to it, and I'm like, I keep eating it because you should eat spinach. I don't think I should eat spinach, because guess what? It doesn't feel good to me
Right.
when I eat it. I'm listening to my body. That's the most important communication. The other thing is, my doctor told me this, my doctor told me that. Like, does your doctor live in your body?
Yeah.
How does your doctor know?
Exactly. Now, how much time do they have of nutrition education as a doctor?
Oh, yeah, I think they get, anywhere from like 4 to 7 hours of what, 8
Right.
years of school.
Yeah.
And
Maybe a week in the good
right.
ones.
And
Right.
that's pushing it. And most of that information is coming from nutritionists or registered dietitians who, they don't look at things holistically. They break it down into the numbers and the chemical components and this and that, and they're funded by big food, so
Right. Exactly.
um
Yeah.
yes, so
The education system as well in the
yeah,
university,
right.
sponsored by industry.
Monsanto, a lot
Oh,
of times,
gotta love
and
that.
the big farm. Well, I was thinking, Monsanto, like, our colleges and all of our farming schools, they teach there,
Well, and now they're owned by Bayer,
yeah,
the largest
yeah,
German largest right pharmaceutical
yeah,
company on the planet.
yeah. So you have that influence, and then you have, the big pharma, which, again,
General, massive,
they're
massive.
they're doing a lot of the teaching, and a it's not a holistic, it's not a let's get to know the body approach. It's
Right.
more of okay, here's a symptom, and here's a drug that takes care of that symptom.
Yep.
And like I said to the person I was talking to today, like, well, because they're having migraines and extreme PMS and like debilitating cramps when they have their period. And it's like, okay, so it's all hormones. So when you get to the hormones, that comes down to something in the digestive tract is not okay. So
Right.
you're eating healthy, but who's healthy?
Yeah.
Whose healthy are you eating? And this can all be improved on. I want to say reverse, but I won't, because I can't make promises or claims or anything, but I know it can be improved on, but it really comes down to what is healthy for you,
Right.
and where is that balance, if you are working all the time, not taking time for self, not taking time for family, you know, you have even more of the same. So,
Right.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, we look at, communication exchange that you're talking there is going sort of two ways. Is that communication exchange between doctor and individual, and the doctor then sort of prescribing, well, you should be doing this,
hmm
based on no knowledge of having been trained in it, number one. Number two, no knowledge of the individual that they're prescribing
yeah,
for,
yeah,
really, not enough. And then you've got the communication that is coming from industry, which is
hmm
tilting this guy towards a dollar.
yeah,
Um, so all of those exchanges, they're kind of twisting it all up when that person's come there to be kind of healed,
yeah,
and hopefully they can buy nutrition. So
right. Right.
what a mess.
And first of all, the nutrition isn't the first thing that they go to. It's like not even necessarily a
Right.
consideration. And what you said there was kind of key too. Like they're coming in, they don't know the whole story. They sit down, and here in the States, I mean, you're lucky if you get 5-10 minutes with the doctor.
Right.
It's
Right.
like boom, boom, boom. Okay, here's what's going on.
And it's symptom based.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like, oh, we'll
exactly. It's
treat the
symptom.
symptom. We'll
Right.
treat the symptom.
Right. And
Take one of these.
yeah, and like I like to look at, okay, so I have 35 years of chronic pain, back pain.
Right.
In the last 4 years, it's been debilitating. I've spent months, unable to even walk. I'm just starting to get back into movement and mobility. But what I've learned in that journey, and this is from working with people, not, the medical establishment, they're like, oh, well, let's operate, let's this, let's that, even I haven't done physical therapy in years because I've done it 4 times, and every time had bad experiences, unfortunately. And I know that's not everybody, but I have learned that just because it's my hip or my low back or my SI joint or whatever doesn't mean that that's where the problem is coming from. I have learned a lot of times it's coming from my psoas muscle. The piriformis,
that little
piriformis
little bugger.
syndrome's coming from there. I was working with a visceral therapist for a while, and I'd be like, okay, this SI joint's really bothering me, and I have such pain through this hip. It's like pulling into the groin, and I can hardly move my leg. And you know where she starts working? Up back here,
Right.
up towards
And you're
my
thinking,
axis or my,
what are you doing there? It's like, what are you doing there? And the
and
pain's over here.
she starts working on there, and I feel things happening, like in my axis, my occiput, and all of a sudden, like the hip releases, or something happens, and it's like, so we can't, hey Jill, hey Troy, we can't be taking things as, oh, well, it's this, we need to. And that's what I did almost 18 years ago when my health was failing. I educated myself and used myself as an experiment, and learned what is the communication from my body.
Right.
What is that feedback? Because it's not always necessarily what I thought it was.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like, hiring a health coach, having somebody to work with you and figure this stuff out. It took me all those years. Like, it cuts that, because there's somebody who has an idea of where it is, but sometimes people also, they don't trust the communication from their bodies, is what it is.
Right.
They don't trust the communication from their body. So when that's happening, how much better is the health going to get? How much are they going to lose weight? Like, how are things going to change if they can't listen to what their body's telling them because they don't trust it? And that comes as a, in society, as a culture, we do that. Oh, well, I ate that, and my stomach hurt. But that doesn't really matter.
So
I liked
isn't
it.
that
I
interesting?
wanted it, you know?
Right. I mean, it's interesting, you know. So your body is talking to you in a certain way, speaking a certain language,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then as the novice of your own body, you're going, oh, it hurts there, therefore there must be a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's usually symptomatic. Like you said, she's playing with your neck, and you're thinking, what are you doing over here? The pain's down
Yep.
there, for example.
Yep.
Right now,
Yeah.
but not only is she then treating it here and thinking, okay, this is the part that needs the work, but then you take it further. Go, why does that need the work? Oh, and then it can connect it back to
Yeah.
diet,
Yeah.
what I'm eating,
Yeah.
or what I'm
Yeah.
digesting in my head.
Yep. And
Can be
sometimes
part of
it
it
was
too.
sometimes there were, and I think you and Ann had talked about this, you and Ann Shivas,
Yeah.
like sometimes, because so our bodies store emotions, they store trauma, they store energy, you know. And there have been times when I have worked modalities and therapists and stuff where they'll start working. And this happened the first time I had major work done, like hands-on work done in my psoas.
Right.
I started crying uncontrollably because she was releasing, because our psoas holds on to emotions.
Oh, that's so as
And
it's a nasty little thing. Getting that to that muscle too is hard work.
yeah.
Finding it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it
Right, you got
was
to raise
like
your leg and then
I was
it's like,
crying.
oh, right.
And it was, I mean, it was painful, but it wasn't from the pain. It was uncontrollable
Emotion.
sobbing that I didn't even know what it was. And it was just like, I was just crying and crying and crying. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. And my psoas released some. And it was like, what the fuck was that? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So our bodies are always trying to take care of us. Okay?
So it's trying to communicate to you.
It's trying to communicate. Our body's job is homeostasis, to keep us balanced.
Yep.
Okay? Like, let's talk about cravings for a minute. Okay? That's a huge communication. And sometimes it's a food-based thing, but more often it's an emotion-based thing. Okay?
Right.
And
yep.
How I like to talk to cravings, like explain cravings to people. So you've heard of yin and yang, right?
Uh-huh.
The Chinese, yin and yang. So yin is it's light, it's kind of the airy, it's kind of, you think of yoga, okay?
Yep.
And so you can have, lifestyle stuff like yoga and meditating and that kind of thing. So then look on the food thing. So in the food, I actually have a visual for this. I wish I known I was going to be talking about this, I would have put it out. But so with yin, so there are yin foods, and think, alcohol and like flour, white flour and sugar and things that kind of, if you eat too much, you kind of get like, oh, whoo,
so the pleasure foods.
Yes.
Remember we were talking about pleasure and purposeful eating last week?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Pleasure foods, yin.
So we have the yin activities and the yin food. Okay?
Right.
Now let's define yang. So the yang is those more contractive. It's contractive and tight and aggressive, and it can it's your weightlifting and football and stuff like that. Okay. Right. What are some yang foods? Some yang foods are your red meats, salt, cheeses. These are like heavier and denser. So a lot of times we get, especially like the men get caught up in that yang, although there are a lot of women these days who are caught up in the masculinity. So the yang is the masculine and the yin is the feminine, okay? So our bodies, so a lot of guys, they eat all this red meat and they work out and they eat salty things and they, it's a very yang. And then what do? Yep. They drink a lot of alcohol, okay? Because the body's looking for homeostasis. And what happens is, so there are balanced foods, and that's your vegetables, that's your grains, that's your legumes, and all. They're balanced foods. When you look at them, they are in the middle. They are pretty much balanced with yin and yang, okay?
Right.
They're not going to help you at that point.
Right.
Okay? They're not going to help you at that point. Your body is saying, okay, I am so fucking tight. I need release.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And so many of us, hey Jill, so many of us, you know, there are times where, you know, you're feeling that like, really, you know, and we tend to want to go in deeper. But then what do you crave when that's happening? You start craving sweets, chocolate. Our body is trying to get us, it needs to go, it's like a pendulum. So it's all the way here. It needs to go back to here to kind of get into balance, you know? So when you're real yang like that, it needs to lighten up. Jill, give me a message or something. I want to get in touch with you. So let's look at yin, okay?
Yeah.
Yin, it's that light and airy, and that's more of your, like I said, yoga and meditation and this and that. And we all know that the person who, you know, they meditate and they do yoga and they're all like, woo, and they eat, you know, they're vegetarians or vegans. And so, and they're all kind of like, woo, 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 like, okay, get your head out of the fucking cloud. It's kind of like, you know what?
Right.
Eat a fucking burger
Right.
and bring
Go
yourself
and
down.
yank it up
Or
a little.
go run or go take a boxing class or something to kind of like bring you down, you know?
Right.
So that's our body communicating. And this, you know, so it can cause cravings. So when you think of, so that yang, then they start craving, you know, they'll go on, you know, like cookies or alcohol or, you know, sugar or, you know, the pastas, you know, the bread, stuff like that. And then you have that yin and they start craving like, you know, maybe salty, like chips or, you know, all this other stuff. So that's the body communicating. And a lot of times people end up with their cravings and they're like, you know, okay, I'm shoving my face with this and that. That's a communication, you know, from the body trying to maintain balance, you know. And the same thing happens like we talked about last week where, okay, that person who goes to work and they work and they eat very little and then they come home. So that body has gotten very tense because it's not getting the nutrition it needs. And then you get home and you know, go through everything and then you sit down at the end of the night and everything relaxes, but it's been so tight, then it starts wanting these other things, you know? So it's really important to learn to listen to that and learn how, what decision are you going to make? Because once you become, two things happen. Once you become aware of this, then you have the choice. You get to make a decision. Do I do something that's lifestyle wise or do I do something that's food wise? You know, and did I share about what happened to me in New York City that time?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. This is the body communicating. Okay. I never would have known this if I hadn't gone to school and studied and done, you know, my nutrition school and the psychology of eating classes and all this stuff. Right. So I don't like cities. I don't like to drive in cities. Okay. I live in the country for a reason, right?
Yeah, there's good biome activity there.
Yeah. I took my daughter. She wanted to go to something in New York City.
Right.
I drove. Woo-hoo. Okay.
Not a good idea?
No, not a good idea.
Right.
Trying to get out of New York City at rush hour.
Right.
I just wanted to get to the tunnel, right? There was like 6 lanes of traffic, and in New York City, it's literally, the vehicles are right like this, and like they cut you off, like they're right here. Like, so I need to get to the tunnel, but for some reason there was a cop like in the middle of all these lanes of traffic, and she kept pointing me this way, and I wanted to go this way, and she kept pointing me this way, and it was like, it'd take 20 minutes. It was just like the square block, you know, it wasn't big. And it would take like 20, 25 minutes to get around that because I had like buses, like literally like this far from the front of my car, you know? And then my daughter's like, Mom, you got to drive aggressive. I'm like, I'm fucking aggressive, right? So I ended up going around this square 4 fucking times. And the last 2 times I'm going to the cop I need to go here. And she's going to me. And I'm like, oh my God. Somehow I got over. Okay. By the time I'm going through the tunnel, I was so tense. My shoulders were up to my ears. I was squinting so hard. Like, I didn't think I was ever going to be able to kind of like undo this. Okay, you take me, Jill. Let's do that. I was like, oh, my jaw was killing me, right? My hands were so tight on the steering wheel that I couldn't even let go. They hurt. My feet were in knots. And we're going through the tunnel, and I felt a migraine coming on. And I'm like, holy shit, I've got 2 hours to drive, and I have a migraine now.
Right.
You know? And that's what
yeah, right. Gangs in New York, says Peter.
So yeah, right. So I had to go to the bathroom. So the first rest stop, we pull over and we go in, and I'm starting to panic now because I have such a headache, right? And I'm thinking I have 2 hours to drive, and this, when I get a migraine like this, like it puts me down, you know? Right. I knew it was emotions. I knew I was so yang. I was so tight and wired. And I knew I needed to do something to release that. And it needed to be drastic, you know? Right. So I go to the bathroom. We come out, and I'm like, oh, Starbucks. Let's go get coffee. And my daughter,
Starbucks was communicating to you.
Yeah. Tyler's looking at me like, okay. So standing in line, and I go to order, and I didn't order coffee. I ordered a cafe mocha, and she's looking at me like, she goes to me, what are you doing? You don't drink that. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. So I go down, and we're waiting for my thing to get done. And I pick it up, and I'm like, oh, Cinnabon. Did you ever have one of them? And she was like, no, what's that? I hadn't had Cinnabon in like probably 25 years, you know?
So this is food talking to you. It's communicating, whether it's effective or not effective, destructive, whatever, but food's talking to you.
Yes. Well, and this is me saying, I know I need something drastic to release, or I'm going down, and I'm not going to be able to drive us home, you know?
Right, yeah.
So we go over, and we're standing in line, and she's like, what are you doing? We don't eat this stuff. And I'm like, it's okay, right? So I get the Cinnabon, right?
Right,
and,
Cinnabon,
you know,
right.
This is total listening to what my body's telling me at this point, you know? Sit down at the table, take a sip of the coffee, take a bite of the Cinnabon, I'm like, and I can feel myself. Okay. I take another bite, and I was like, and another sip, and I was like, I go to take the third sip and the third bite, and I'm like, oh my God, this is chemicals. Like, this is gross, you know? Yeah. And I look at Tyler, and I'm like, do you want any more of that? She had taken like one bite, and she's like, no. I'm like,
so nutritional value of almost zero, and a whole lot of toxins to boot.
Right. But here's the thing.
Right.
It brought me down. I mean, it brought me up,
right.
You know, because I was so tense. And I knew I didn't have the luxury at that time to, breathe or walk or whatever. Like, I needed something, and I needed it then, because that's my body was saying, like, dude, man, you're like too strong, you know? Yeah. And I did that, and I picked it up, threw it out, drove home, and I was fine.
Right.
You know, but that's where learning to listen to that communication of what your body's telling you and being in tune to. I knew I needed, and here's the thing. I didn't stress about anything. I didn't stress about what I was putting in my body. So that kept my body in parasympathetic, in a relaxed state, so that my body could do what it needed to do to remove those toxins. Okay. The main thing was listening to what my body, the communication in my body of, okay, this is what we need to do to get the fuck out of here and be able to get home, you know?
Right, yeah.
So, you know, And I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't learned to listen to my body. And hey, Anne, and that's one of the main things is, you know, it took me years to learn that, you know, and that's one of the places where, you know, having a coach can help, because then you become more aware of stuff like that, you know, you become more aware of, hey, my body's talking to me. And sometimes the best thing to do is the thing you wouldn't think would be the best thing to do. You know,
to eat some rubbish.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so your body was talking to you, so it had certain needs, some of them emotionally driven. Then you got food, which is beautifully presented at the right time in every corner, be it Starbucks, Kentucky Fried, or whoever is talking to your body almost, because you know how that feels.
Well,
it's
yeah.
so chemically infused
Well,
with the stuff that
that
gets the
chemical,
receptors all satisfied.
Yeah. So so let's talk about that communication. If that's the food that you're eating, that's the food that's going to talk to you. Oh, there's Taco Bell. I'm going to go there. There's McDonald's. I'm going to go there. There's Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm going to go there. There's Starbucks. I'm going to go there, you know, which,
you get your fix.
You know, and typically for me, like that, it's not even a place that crosses my mind. It's no, because I don't have that chemical addiction. And a lot of people don't realize that those chemicals that are used in those, you know, pseudo foods, they're in there to make you want more. They're in there to program you, to make you crave it, you know.
It's like a cigarette.
Yeah, it is. And learning, and that's what happens when people start changing what they're putting in their body, the communication changes.
Right. Within themselves.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like even today, it was, I was like, you know, what do I want to eat? And I was just like, you know what? Like, I make this, it's a cauliflower couscous. It's cauliflower, parsley, cilantro, mint leaves, mix that all up. It's some lemon juice and some olive oil and some salt and pepper. And I put olives and tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff in there, you know. And it was just like, that's what I craved, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so like what, you know, that all can change. I'm trying to see what I think I'll have guilty pleasure of a go-to food.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
I think Anne's baiting Peter here.
Chocolate.
Yeah, Peter.
Anne,
Peter perfect.
Anne, when I'm in Montreal, if you got that chocolate, can you bring me a piece? I want to try it.
Is that one from Switzerland?
That one that Peter was talking about. Yeah, I want to try it because Anne said she ordered it.
Too.
Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, she said she ordered it, so I would love to try that. Chocolate.
Right.
Yeah, I had chocolate today. I have chocolate almost every day. It's organic. Yeah, it's organic. It's, you know, it's good.
So let's talk about, let's not to distract from conversation, but how was the Swiss chocolate? I don't know if you got delivery yet, did you?
I don't know if she got it. Yeah,
I need to order some of that stuff. I'm using like the Lindt 78%, because you got to be 72% and above at least for the cacao to have enough effect, and I don't want dairy.
Right.
Yeah. It's good. We compare it with wine.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh yes. Let's do it. Let's do it.
There we go.
That's a date.
The party coming up.
Haven't received it yet.
I haven't received it yet. Okay. It's on its way.
Okay. Well, we'll have to find some kind of chocolate and do that when I'm not there.
All right. And just to warn you as well, and we've got about 5 minutes.
Once you go Swiss, you never go back.
Once you go Swiss, you never go back. Yeah. Well, like once you go black. So the girls tell me. We've got, just so you know too, we've got a special guest on our special Foodie Wednesday that's going to come on at on the top of the hour. Well, it'll be just after the top of the hour, talking about service we have here at the moment in Brisbane and the Gold Coast.
What was that? You froze up.
So there's a special guest we're going to have on with a bonus pack on food today. We've got a cameo appearance by a guy called Chad. And where's Chad's surname? Chad. It's not coming to me right now. Let's just call him Chad. So Chad's going to be joining us from Fit Fuel Plus.
Okay.
About precision. Well, I'm going to be talking about precision nutrition. He's going to be talking about his service that he has where he delivers macro balanced food to athletes. And I try to press him further and say, okay, I'm going to give you macros and I want it organic and I want it with my ingredients and recipes, not yours.
Right.
Could you do that? And he's up for it. He started doing
good.
it. So I thought, dude, we got to talk. I'm gonna get you on an FB Live. You need to be promoted, and people need to hear about what you're doing.
Right.
So so that's coming up at roughly just past the top of the hour. I'll probably need a few minutes to set up because I got a podcast interview him as well.
Oh, cool.
What do we got? What's this?
I missed something here.
I have blood sugar drops at the most undesirable times. You got when driving, this causes massive anxiety, but I'm aware of it and measures in place. When it happens, listen to your body is key. I understand how lab results. Tell them to shut up. To tell the body to shut up, Pete, or the lab results? Okay. Yeah, you're going to need to explain that, Pete. So, getting back to communication of food then, it's interesting how there seems to be a change going on right now between, let's say, the X's, or I just managed to slip into X, and the millennials. And where the millennials apparently are now reading the back of the packets, whereas, you and I was in that kind of transition phase, I guess. It was like the front of it, it's Cocoa Pops. Cool. Or it's Nutri-Grain. It's healthy for you.
Right.
Packed full of sugar, but, there's an Iron Man that's on there, and that guy can't be bullshitting, right? Look at him.
Right.
Let's eat some Nutri-Grain.
Yeah.
It's slightly more bland than Cocoa Pops, but it's healthier for me.
Right.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
So never read the back of the pack, and even if I did, it's like, nice and this much sugar, 3,000 grams. This must be good. Okay, fine, whatever.
Right.
Now the millennials are in there, they're getting discerning, and they're reading the back of the packs every time.
Right.
For any millennials that are on here right now, it'd be interesting to hear your opinion if that's true. So, I'm thinking about one in particular. So, if you, what's with that?
So with
there's been a lot of legal stuff that's happened around labeling. And the US,
labeling. Labeling.
Real and true, and
like there's so much that they don't have to put on. There's so many things that really don't have meaning, like even the natural. There's no guidelines for natural. Like it can be something that started as natural and it's been so, processed and broken down that it's not natural, and all this synthesized, man-made crap has been put back in there, but it can say natural,
Right.
Yeah, and then people look at, I don't know, it's got the calories and the sodium and the sugars and the this and the that and the, half the times people don't realize, like, you got to look up there, like, okay, what is the serving size? So I think, oh, well, there's only this much, but they ate the whole package. Well, look at that whole package serves 4.
Serving size is always serving size. I love serving size. That's
it's
hilarious.
like this.
Yeah,
terms
right.
We do the.
So there
However,
we go.
it depends
Google
on the
terms don't even
influence.
understand, right? This is what's going on.
Yeah.
So it depends on the influence of the household growing up.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
I was lucky
true.
to grow up on a farm.
That's true. Yeah.
Like Anne was eating natural, clean stuff anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
sugar, alcohol.
Yeah, the sugar. Yeah, like there's so many different things.
All right, and Diane's
bullshit.
comment, right? And what they have to say. So there's that legal thing, and then they
Sorry about that.
Industry, it's all right. Industry still tries to work its way around it for the dollar. Meanwhile, we're all getting freaking poisoned or misled still. I mean, where's the regulator?
And a lot of the stuff
regulator?
A lot of the stuff on the labels are bullshit because the regulators, regulators
in on the game.
are owned. Yeah, they're owned. They're owned.
Campaign money to 1 minute to then who's working on them that was out of industry.
Right.
FDA. It's like, what do we got here?
Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
Looking back
So,
at pesticides
yeah,
used sometimes,
most of it,
farms aren't all clean.
I was,
GMO,
I was just having a
aspartame.
conversation with a woman yesterday. We're
Right.
talking about farms, you know, and because
Yeah.
there's a lot of farms around me, okay, and there's a lot of Amish farms, and the thing
Right.
is, people always think, oh, it's Amish, it's got to be good, okay.
Right.
I have seen and I have talked to farmers when I was um, helping a woman with a documentary on GMOs, and they spread Roundup slash glyphosate
Yeah.
on the fields with their fucking horses.
Right. Slash Monsanto slash Bayer.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
so just because it's Amish, it doesn't mean anything. You know, it doesn't mean anything. You know, and they've changed they're changing like the terminology, like oh, what was it? I can't think of it now, but so genetic engineered, they're calling it bio something or other to kind of change change the perspective. So you really got to learn, well, what is it really? You know,
Right.
because they're really changing everything. You're banning the Amish now. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Amish.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, the Amish. Look, I
Right.
live in Amish country. Okay.
Right.
Look, I've gotten stuck in Amish rush hour. You know what that is?
No, what is that?
So it's all little back roads, you know, through the woods and farms and everything. So it's only like a 2-lane road. And when you get stuck behind the horse and buggies, you can't get around them.
Oh.
So I call it Amish rush hour because then
Amish rush hour.
you're just going along at like, you know, 5 miles an hour. Can't go anywhere. It's Amish rush hour.
Oh God! Right. You know.
Yeah, horse and buggy. Yep. Jill. Yep. Jill knows because Jill's out. She lives out in Amish country too.
So you know, it's once again.
But yeah, they
sort of
spray.
like,
They spray.
they spray.
You know, so
And GMO.
yeah. Oh yeah, they grow. Yeah, they grow the GMOs. Yeah. So I know an Amish farmer who is he is organic. He is certified organic.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
And I had a conversation with him. His one brother went genetically modified and was spraying Roundup and everything, and started wondering why the deer stopped coming into his fields. And he had a horse get sick, and then a family member get sick. And then he realized that, you know, what Monsanto, and this was before Bayer bought Monsanto, what they were teaching was bullshit, you know. And he did go back to growing organic, but you know, it just because it's Amish doesn't mean it's organic, doesn't mean
clean.
it's good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, need to make a few bucks too. Once again, you know, dollars, short-term thinking, self-interest sort of comes
Peter
back
said,
in, right?
yeah, aspartame.
What do you say?
Aspartame.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to go to his farm. I love farms.
We're going to be checking it out. Ann and I are checking it out in just end of February. We're in Pete's place for a week. He's been gracious enough to host us.
It's in the norm. Yep.
Right.
See, Jill says, because she's got, I know she lives out in Oxford, and I know Oxford pretty well. And she's like, they have a different smell. Yeah, because you know what? It's a chemical smell because the soil's not alive. Soil's supposed to be live. When you have a healthy farm, the soil's alive. Like in 1 teaspoon, there's like a gazillion, millions and millions of microorganisms. And when they're spraying those pesticides, there's nothing living in the soil. So it has that healthy, good smell. And the plants don't have because there's a synergistic relationship between the plants and the soil, and they don't have that. So yeah.
Yeah, and look, and there's a statement by Anne, and this is true, right? It's like organic doesn't necessarily mean organic, or from a communication point of view, what does organic mean? And I know Peter's kind of given me the tip on this one too. It's got to be biodynamic if you want to get real clean.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, and that's
what
just
does
because it's
organic mean half
organic.
the time?
Yeah,
Could be an
yeah,
organic pesticide they use, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah. And
still
that's
not
why I
clean.
try, when I can, especially, in season, I buy from, like, I know a lot of farmers. I know a lot of organic farmers. I know what their practices are. I know what they use. I know, when they do have to spray, what are they using? Because there are things that can be used that are, um, plant-based oils, or, like copper and stuff like that, that's not going to be giving that pesticide load. So, yeah, I mean,
Right.
you know, um, that's why, to me, it's important to know the farmers, and like, I know, especially on season, where most of my food is coming from. Like, I've walked those farms, I've done
Right.
live streams from the farms and put them on my stories on Instagram,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
love it,
Right. And walking through the rainforest and so on, I remember a couple of those that you've done as well, which is awesome, because you get so much great
Yeah.
biome activity going on there and great bacteria. We've
Oh,
got
the
Sharon
poop
here.
smell game. Yeah. 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 The poop
So
smell.
that
Yeah.
sounds like fun.
Well, and we've had,
Uh,
so you know what, we've had some, I mean, these are chemical farms to begin with, but they're spraying sewage sludge on the farms. Okay.
right.
Heavy metals, everybody's,
Awesome.
you know, past antibiotics and you know, antidepressants and all that being sprayed. And there was it was quite a while ago now. The one farm, um, they had, like, there were 5 or 6 the same kind of cancer rates in it was like probably like a 5 or 6 square mile area, and they did a study, okay, on it,
Right.
but the study found that it was just oh, I forget, I don't remember the terminology, but basically they said it was just a coincidence. I'm like, that's freaking bullshit. Yeah,
It's
birth control.
yeah.
Yeah, well, if that's why, like, I have a well, and I want to keep, like, I don't want to live where there's public water, because you're drinking not only the chlorine and the fluoride, which they're all toxins, but birth control, like all that, so yeah.
Well, it's interesting. This one's going to fire up. I know we're going slightly off course here, but you just reminded me too. I was watching this special last night on not the Current Affair. I think it was called Current Affair here in Australia, or Nationwide or something it's called. And it was about Sardinia. And for those that know the Blue Zones and Dan Buettner's book, Blue Zones, Sardinia is one of those areas of concentrated longevity, long-living people, right? And because of their way of life, and all about self-sustaining farming, and that seems to be the only way you can really reliably know your food source.
Know what's going on, yeah.
Right, the whole supply chain, right? But on Sardinia, NATO have military forces. I'm waiting for you to fire up on this, Pete. And they have secret things happening in those bases, which even the politicians locally have not been able to get into. Even the federal politicians are somewhat restricted because of certain things in the agreements with NATO. And they've been talking about some of the nuclear type activity. So you've got this place called Sardinia where people are living the longest, but then they're losing a lot of people. And they showed pictures of these like mutated lambs with like one eye in the middle and all this sort of stuff. The crazy shit that's going on there. A lot of people dying of certain cancers at a young age. And because of what's starting to happen, some of the water is getting affected, certain things going on. But yeah, you just triggered me off then with, and birth control pills and water and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But it was ironic that it was Sardinia. And I thought,
Right.
this is where people live the longest.
Right.
5 blue zones.
So it'll be
you've got this shit going on.
It'll be interesting to see how that in the next, 15, 20 years, whether people still are living as long there.
Living that long, right. Now,
yeah.
And on that, and there's a report out, I haven't grabbed it yet, on how, and in the US, children living shorter lives
and
than
parents.
their
Oh, yeah.
parents.
Oh, yeah.
What the, sorry, I'm going to, what the fuck is with that?
Oh, yeah, no, it's...
Like your kid could live a shorter life because of the chronic issues being created by a lot of these toxins and so on.
Yeah.
And the way of
well, and
living.
you also, so
So that's been communicated.
Yeah.
There's some
So you
communication
look
for
at,
you.
look at epigenetics. So yeah, genetics play a part, but we know that it's only 10%. 90% is what you do, what genes are triggered by what you do, what you eat, what you're exposed to, all this stuff, right? But so you look at, okay, so my grandparents in my lineage, my grandparents were the first to start eating processed food, but that was like after, pretty much after like my mom was born, you know, but my mom was eating processed food, okay? It changes, it affects the health, and it can affect DNA, and especially as we start getting into genetic modification and we start getting into like the pesticides being sprayed and all that. So it compromises the parent, and then that parent passes down compromised genes, and so it goes. And then we have, so so I got some compromised genes, and then I was fortunate. Like we ate real food, but I ate packaged food. I ate, pseudo food, and even
Yeah.
more so once, like when I
Yeah.
moved out on my own. So then I have compromised, okay, and I have autoimmune. That's passed on. So kids are not starting where we started and where our
Yeah, because we went
ancestors
through that
started.
change.
Yeah.
Right. They've
So
been living
each
on it from out of the womb.
generation, there is more compromise in the genetics, in the DNA, in the
genetics.
RNA.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we're not even starting from the same spot. That's scary. That's
we are
scary.
we are devolving.
Yeah.
We're devolving, and that is just so damn wrong. And we trusted the regulators. But,
Yeah.
okay, well, if it's been given the okay,
Okay, yeah,
it wouldn't be on the shelves, it wouldn't be in the
okay,
market
but-
unless it'd been checked by the regulators.
Well, yeah, well, that's what everybody thinks. But here's
Yeah.
the other thing, I know Diane and I have talked about that. But here's, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to put a chemical company that it's known now that back in the 20s and 30s with PCBs, they knew how dangerous they were. They knew how harmful they were, but they brought them out. Agent Orange, the same thing.
Money talks. Yeah. Fear.
It's unholy alliances, So.
Oh God, yeah.
And so here's the thing, let's bring this back to communication. Yeah, the regulators are. Yeah, it's.
And I gotta say, Pete does know a lot. In this case, he knows
the regulators.
about this stuff too.
Yeah. It makes me crazy because people think, oh, well, it wouldn't be out there. Here in the United States, they don't have to prove anything is safe. The individual, have to prove that it's not, and they make it impossible.
Right.
When I wanted the certification course, it was a year-long course, and it went into the politics of all of this,
of food,
and the regulations, and our government, and actually there was a whole part where it was like a compare and contrast us versus a lot of the European nations. Like, they have to prove that it's safe. Here it's like, oh, put it in. Let other people, let the people who say that they're having issues from it prove that they're having issues from it, and then they make it impossible. So,
right.
Yeah, it's, so I think too, so coming back to the whole communication thing, it's not only learning the communication in your body, but it's, where's reliable communication on what's going on out there,
Right.
Sometimes you don't realize something. You just need
to trust in the process and just hope for a better future for everyone. Yeah, well, we trusted.
Yeah, and look where that took us.
Look where that got us.
Yeah, and
so
hopefully, I do feel there is still a chance of changing that, but I think we're at an now or never.
Well, look, when kids start leading shorter lives than their parents, that's fucking now or never for me.
Oh, yeah.
That is like, talk about kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Crap to kill the kids.
Yeah. And well, and you
That's
think
fucking wrong.
how many kids,
You know?
it used to be adult onset diabetes. That's type
Right.
2. That's type 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That is
600 million
totally,
of those.
that is
400 million diabetics.
right.
600 million
That is
pre-diabetic now.
totally diet related.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And now we have kids having it more than, be your
Right.
own doctor. Yeah. And
Right.
that's what Mark Testa,
That's Doc Tester.
Yep.
Yep. On Fridays. Or
Yep.
Thursday evenings for the US. But
We need to step up and be responsible
we
for
have to.
ourselves. Okay, communication, like listening to my body. Like I've known for a few months now. Like I haven't been doing what I need to do as well as I in general do,
Right.
And I, this time of year, tend to go into a pit. It's cold, there's no sun. Like I'm a warm, sunny person type of thing, And I realized, like, okay, you know what? I need to do something. So I am doing a food-based detox this week, and already I'm feeling like, okay, I feel it now, like I can feel things shift and I'm listening to my body, and that was when the couscous, because when you start with the, and I take as a nice fresh, parsley and cilantro and put that all in there. They're chelators. They help with the blood and removing toxins and heavy metals and all that stuff. And it was like, okay, that's what, like this morning I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is it I want, And it was like, that's what came to my mind. And I'm like, okay, that's what you need.
I want to feel good and I want to eat what's right for me. One size doesn't fit all.
And that's it. There is no one size.
Right. And even then, when you think you're getting something, you're not getting it because there's something else on it that perhaps hasn't been labeled correctly. Perhaps you haven't read the label. Perhaps you misinterpreted, whatever.
And there's ingredients, if it's under a certain percentage, they don't need to put it in.
That doesn't get it. Right.
And the thing is, and they have acceptable levels, but those acceptable levels don't look, there's multiple exposures every day from all different, exactly. For who? Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all bullshit,
It is.
Peter, type 2, type 2,
Except in the US where it's illegal to cure, it's like, tell me that ain't money talking.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, look, how many alternative doctors have cured cancer without using radiation or chemotherapy? And what happens? They get locked up. Look what happened to Dr. Brzezinski.
Oh, yep.
They destroyed that man.
Well, you look at Ty Bollinger's series on Netflix, right, with his wife.
Yeah.
And the recent one that came out, so it's 2 versions of that, and those doctors that have sacrificed their lives, literally, because they get death threats all the time.
Oh, Brzezinski, they destroyed him. And then they finally exonerated him, like, 10, 15 years later, and it's like, he's destroyed.
Yeah. The Mandela syndrome.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, the dude was curing people with nothing, And I won't say that this is what did it, but a good friend of mine 5 years ago was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I taught her how to do green juice, and we went totally raw, and she would juice 3 times a day. I would go down to her house every other day and prep meals for her, and we did that for, I think, 3 or 4 months, and she went back to the cancer doctor, and her tumor had shrunk significantly.
There we go. What is it? The Truth About Cancer. Ty Bollinger's series, The Truth About Cancer. Go and check that on Netflix. Netflix, or you got online. I think you can go online and you subscribe to it so that he can continue to fund his cause and have somewhere to live and eat. He must be copping a lot of shit too, no doubt.
Yeah.
We're going to have to land this one, Anne.
First $5,000 jury. Yeah, was that Dr. Brzezinski? Yeah.
I think so.
Oh my gosh, that.
Right. It is sad.
What they did.
Sad
and then I think it was the FDA. I forget. I think it was the FDA they took a part of his protocol and
Right.
applied it just so that they could say, it doesn't work. Look, we
Right.
did this. And he was like, no, because you didn't do the full protocol.
Full
You
protocol.
can't take this piece and then you're comparing an apple to a fucking banana, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, look, I mean, getting back to it's communication. Some of the communication that happens isn't real communication, or there hasn't been enough communication
so many of
to
them
build
have been
awareness.
killed. So many of them have been killed.
So, right.
Yeah.
Right. And taken
Yeah.
out. Is this Pete talking?
No, that was
no.
Who said
Yeah.
that? Sharon.
Sharon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, communication, the information, and not only that, but communication within ourselves, as you were alluding to earlier on, and using that gap between stimulus and response to start to rethink. We can't be non-thinking eaters anymore.
No.
Great thing is that, like, I noticed with my son, his generation Z, and you've had Anne sort of talking from a representative point from the millennials. They read and they go and check the labels, thank God. So we've kicked the can down the road and done enough damage as generations that didn't know as well to a degree, but within our generation have been the ones that did know but didn't give a shit. And yeah, this stuff's got to change.
Yeah, the same Dr. Gonzalez, they destroyed him too. Yep. Yeah, and they take things. Right. Yeah.
So wow, that was pretty heavy for communication. Man.
Communication can be heavy.
Yeah. Woo. Damn.
And then I think one of the things to really keep in mind is communication. There are so many different types, forms, levels, approaches to communication. There are so many different ways that our bodies communicate. So many different ways that others communicate. Like the doctors, we covered a lot. I think it's being aware that there are so many different things. So don't be like, can't be like, this is this and that. Sometimes you need to question and experiment and try different things. And was this about communication?
That's the theme. That's the theme we were holding on to, Pete, throughout this. And but
we started off
seems
really
to come
good.
down. It comes down to the same things, right? It comes down to, obviously, we get on a soapbox about this in the industry and money and self-interest and so on. But the other really important piece where we have control over changing it is being able to control the controllables.
Yeah.
And that's within us. And that's us waking up from being sort of the unconscious incompetent to actually asking the questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this healthy food? And the mind. It's always coming back to decisions that we're making.
Yeah.
We're making decisions constantly. And, we can make decisions that are cleaner and safer for us and our kids. And we can't be lazy about it. We've got to take ownership of it, I guess, is the big piece.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Yeah, that's a huge part of it,
Right. So, So, wow. Thanks, Anne. That was big. That hour and 10 minutes. That went fast.
Was that long? Wow.
An hour and almost 10 minutes. I was 5 minutes late, so an hour and 5. Same with Anne Shivers yesterday. It's like, boom. It was like that. Always off topic with me.
I gotta go. I gotta go catch your live with Anne. She has me. I need to get into the sauna. I was in the sauna when you guys are on.
Yeah, was there on?
Oh, it was awesome.
We're checking this time. This could be the new regular time. It's sort of after dinner. It's around like 8 p.m. for you guys on the east.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're thinking of going this, setting a standard. And thanks again, Anne.
Thank you.
I'm thinking next week.
Yep.
Oh God, I was thinking, what about grains? The whole grain brain thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, we could possibly do that.
Yeah. Tommy was late. I know. I run in Greek time in Australia. That's like Tommy was late too. That's not true. That's why I said an hour 5 because I was late.
Right.
And that is true.
Yeah, he was late. I'm like, ready?
Okay, so Diane, perfect for the US. Okay, sweet.
8 o'clock.
Good. Asking, very informative and fun. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, that's it, Diane. Yeah, thanks, Sharon.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, guys.
Okay,
and you know what? If you think that people would benefit from this, share it out.
Share it out.
Tell them to watch it.
Yep.
If you have
friends,
questions
family,
or
loved
comments
ones.
below, we'll come back, check things out, answer them, whatever.
And if you want to PM this lady on my right for some nutrition, health coaching.
Yep.
And with regards to, I just got my new, I'm testing this little baby out. This is the Aura Ring.
Ah.
Heart rate variability,
Good night,
sleep
Jill.
analysis stuff. It's really cool. But me.now or hill.me on Facebook, hill.me community, for those that want to get some extra exclusive stuff. Like I'm user trial testing this little baby right now. And we've got some program we'll be launching soon around holistic living and health. As I work closely with the Health Avengers like Anne on this call, and Anne yesterday, then let me know, PM me or drop into hill.me and request joining the community. So that's about it for today. Remember to live life here, right now. What do you reckon, Anne?
And you know what?
Wow.
You are the key to where you end up. You're the key.
That's it.
So have a good night.
Choices.
See you next
All right,
week.
guys.
Same time, same place. Bye.
You bet. Okay, bye.